Steve Merrill stopping by as he always does to break down the biggest games in college football. And Steve, Miami Duke last week, I will still claim that I made a good selection on that one, taking Duke in 21 points, but Miami just the backdoor cover as they just steamrolled in the fourth quarter after Duke was up by 11. So I'm 32 points ahead of it at that point. But Miami, they can score with anybody in college football, and they proved it again last week.
No question about it. But you get the feeling, Mark, they're almost kind of playing on borrowed time right now. I mean, the top four, one of the only three undefeated teams in the playoff rankings now, along with Oregon and Army. Pretty crazy to say that in the same sentence. But this is a Miami team that's playing on borrowed time. I go back to that Friday night game against Virginia Tech a month ago. It took over 10 minutes to determine if they won or lost. Otherwise, they wouldn't be undefeated. And a lot of people in my neck of the woods in the Virginia area still think they should have lost that game. And I do think this is a spot we can maybe fade them here for a couple of reasons. First of all, my 10,000 game simulation favors Miami by 10. The line, as you mentioned, is currently 11. So there's not a ton of difference there, but it shows that we're getting a little bit of value with Georgia Tech. But I think we're getting even more value because of the situational setup. Teams this late in the season, as road favorites in this price range that are undefeated, they cover less than 30% of the time. So there's a lot of strong situational analysis also that shows that maybe the clock is ticking for Miami. And I don't want to say they play tight. I'm not sure. I think that's a little bit overrated sometimes. And like you said, they didn't play tight last week at the end when it mattered. Maybe they played tight early when they were losing. But there is pressure still on Miami, where a team like Georgia Tech is capable, but at 5-4, they almost have nothing to lose here. So, you know this. Year after year in November, we start to see these undefeateds fall in random weeks. You just get the feeling that Miami might be one of them in the near future. And this is a dangerous spot for them. I think Georgia Tech is a live dog, especially at plus 11.
It's such a fine line with some of these teams that are somewhat down, where on one hand, they seem to give up, some of them, depending on the coaching, depending on the culture, and they just kind of cave in and implode late in the season. And others just swing away, play loose and free and easy, and pull off some upsets. Other factor here is Georgia Tech was a 5-2 football team. They've lost their last two games without starting quarterback Haynes King. He is supposed to be ready and in the starting lineup against Miami. Got Steve Merrill, of course, on the line. You can catch him on Wager Talk. That's every day, wagertalk.com, with the NFL and NBA included in with the college football. And Steve's Under the Radar selection. That's exclusive right here to the Voice of College Football members on YouTube and on Patreon. Patreon.com/Mark Rogers TV. College football is even more exciting with some action on the line. And the games are even better when you're cashing in. And the Voice of College Football is the place to be to get the greatest value. Let's start with my picks. 75% against the money line, 58% against the spread. I've got a 40-year track record. In fact, in 2023, at $100 played per game, you would have netted over $9,300. And guess what? I'm just the warm-up act. Steve Merrill, our ace in the hole, show stopper from Wager Talk. 6 years with the Voice of College Football, over 30 years in the industry. Steve gives us analysis on all the big games, but you can't miss Steve's weekly Under the Radar pick, which went 21-5 against the spread the last two seasons. I repeat, 21-5 against the spread. You also get picks from some of our top analysts here at the Voice of College Football, including Steve Deace and Matt Zemek. Become a YouTube channel member or Patreon member for just $99 per month. Go to the main channel on YouTube, click join, and select the betting tier. Do the same thing on Patreon. Make 2024 a winner now.